Hello dear students, today I am going to teach you about Introduction to Nutrition. This is a chapter which is included in the curriculum of 10th CBSE board and CG board. This chapter deals with the study of life processes, the different life processes through which we will be going through initially in a brief manner and then into details. The basic content of the video will be Introduction to Nutrition. Let's move further. Life process. We all know that all the living things in this world perform some basic activities which include growth, eating food, breathing in air, whether it is plant, animal or microorganism, that is by the process of respiration, and then absorption of food material into their body, whether it is multicellular or unicellular, for their proper growth and reproduction, like important characteristics which help in keeping their generations in progress, and eventually, that is ultimately at last, leading to evolution. All the life processes like respiration, digestion together keep the living organism alive and perform the job of body maintenance. Thus, all these processes come to be known as life processes. The basic life processes of an organism depends on the physiological activities and the biochemical activities of their body, or we can say of the organization of their body structure, whether it may be unicellular or multicellular. The basic life processes include growth, uptake of nutrition, utilization of those nutrition by the process of circulating them throughout their body, and then assimilating them for the development of their body in order to perform essential functions. At last, whatever the body has uptaken needs to be processed for products and byproducts, and the materials which are useless or not in much use by the body are removed by the body by the process of excretion. All this together constitute the life process. First of all, let us discuss about uptake of nutrition, which is the most characteristic or important phenomena for the growth and development of the body. Unless the body gets nutrition, the following things cannot be, above already mentioned things cannot be possible. So basically, the basic need for uptake of nutrition is generation of energy. This energy which is generated helps in carrying out various processes, or the chemical, basically we can say the chemical processes inside the cells of the organism's body. As a result of those chemical processes, new products are found which help in generation of more energy and building up the organism's body structure. Or we can say for unicellular organisms, they help in keeping their generation into continuation by the process of asexual reproduction. We can say that the requirement for nutrition is to grow, develop, synthesize protein and other substances needed by the body, and then process them for the rest of the processes, life processes of the body. How an organism can uptake nutrition? There are basically following modes of uptake of nutrition. The first mode of nutrition which is seen is autotrophic mode of nutrition. This type of mode of nutrition is carried out by plants in the presence of solar energy and the chemical molecule which is present in their cells chloroplast, that is chlorophyll. Other than that, some microorganisms like bacteria even perform the autotrophic mode of nutrition. That can be possible by the presence of special type of chlorophyll which can be known as bacteriochlorophyll. All these things help in generation of energy by the process of uptake of solar energy and converting them into chemical form. The next mode of nutrition which is followed by the majority of living organisms is the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Here heterotrophic means dependent on other organisms for their food needs. Basically, the heterotrophic mode of nutrition can be performed by direct absorption of food from the simplest in their simplest form, which is the characteristic of microorganisms, or by ingesting food, that is taking in food with organs like buccal cavity as in humans or in higher animals, or in lower animals which can be in the form of gizzard as seen in some of the organisms like redworm, earthworm, lizards, etc. The heterotrophic mode of nutrition is basically subdivided into three major forms. That is, first of them is saprotrophic mode of nutrition, which is even known as saprophytic mode of nutrition. In the saprophytic mode of nutrition, the organism feeds on dead and decaying organic matter and releases the energy from those matter, also helping in freeing up the natural or the important biochemicals, or we can say the important chemicals like nitrogen, oxygen, etc. into the environment by breakdown of those food material into simpler forms. This is possible due to production of some chemicals which are known as enzymes outside the cellular body of such microorganisms. Those enzymes are known as extracellular enzymes, which help in pouring out onto the food material substance, that is the dead and decaying matter, and breaking them into simpler form. After the breakdown, the further process is carried out inside the cells of the unicellular organisms, that is absorption through their cell wall and then processing and assimilating them inside their cellular structures. The example of such organisms can be bacteria, fungus, yeast, mushrooms, etc. Further, some of the other modes of nutrition are parasitic mode of nutrition. This type of strategy of nutrition is adapted by some plants which reside on or body of other organisms for their food requirement or shelter requirement. In this strategy, the organism which is parasitic may cause harm to the organism on which it is residing. Thus, the organism is known as host and the organism which causes harm is known as parasite. Some bacteria which cause diseases or some protozoa which even cause diseases like malarial parasite plasmodium or some amoeba like entamoeba histolytica or some bacteria like vibrio cholerae causing cholera, etc. are parasitic in nature. Other than that, some plant-like organisms depend on other animals or other plants for their nutrition. They poke in their root system into the branches or stems of the other plants and take in nutrient requirements and fulfill them. The example of such plants are cuscuta. Some other examples of parasitic organisms are lice, leeches, and tapeworms. Let's move further. The third mode of nutrition is holozoic mode of nutrition. This type of mode of nutrition is basically characterized by ingesting the food in a proper way with the help of mouth and then following it through a number of enzymatic steps in order to break down it into simpler form, and then a particular type of organ systems will be responsible for absorption and assimilation of food. This type of mode of nutrition characterizes the digestive system of higher organisms. Such higher organisms can be of three types: herbivores, carnivores, or omnivores. Herbivores are the ones which take up food only in the form of plant. They feed on grasses, shrubs, herbs, etc. The carnivores are dependent on other animals as their most important requirement of food comes in the form of meat or flesh of those herbivorous animals. Example: lion, tiger, etc. Third is the omnivorous type of organism, which depend on both plant-like nutrient or animal-like flesh-like nutrient for their food. Example of such organisms are crow, bear, monkeys, dogs, etc. Thus, it can be summarized in short as mode of nutrition, two types: autotrophic mode of nutrition, heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Heterotrophic mode of nutrition into three types, that is holozoic mode of nutrition, saprotrophic mode of nutrition, and parasitic type of nutrition. That's all for the content of this video. Thank you.